Hey, good morning, Spectacular Misfits.
Well, good
Good
morning.
morning.
Hey, Byron, how do you feel today?
How I feel?
Yeah,
Well, feel like I get used to it in the future, more used to it, You do this.
you feel get more used to it. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your goal for today's podcast, Byron?
My goal today. What's my goal? My goal.
You showed up, man. You just started spitting facts at me and Arlen before I even hit record. It seems like you're full of
I was
goals.
like,
What's your
I thought you thought how you make the world a better place, and then I was brought up what current events, what happened, the crisis in Cuba there, cutting oil, the energy, just blackouts, people are starving, and I believe the infant death rates are increasing. Yeah,
your goal is to bring that infant death rate down? That's a fabulous goal.
yeah.
Arlen, how do you feel today?
I feel fantastic
Hey,
as always.
that's infectious. Now I feel a little fantastic too. What's
Mm.
your goal for the podcast?
I want to touch about cultural differences, like collectivist versus individualism, and how each of those needs to be balanced in politics to make the world a better place.
I think that's a fantastic goal.
I do agree with you that the world needs collectivism rather than individualism on employment, that we all have to like work together, it's more easier.
That
For
makes
sure.
three of us.
Yeah.
I feel proud today. Uh, I'm proud that we reached episode 2, and I'm personally proud that today's my last day as a mall cop. I was hoping it'd be my last day as a security guard, but they scheduled me on Wednesday. That'll be my real last day, but at an office
Yeah, don't
building.
show
So
up, man. Don't show up.
I didn't have to flex that hard, but I'm going to wrap it up as a mall cop today. And then my goal for the podcast is to learn from you guys. Um, I want to make the world a better place too, and I feel like I contribute a little bit to my micro community. But to, like you said, expand that to the greater good. I would like to know the actionable steps. How can Jason, make the world a better place? Um, so we've kind of telegraphed our topic, but Byron, what topic did you pick this week? What are we talking about?
Oh, this topic I pick. Oh, I thought it was Arlen's turn or your turn.
No, we're done with our check-in. So now
Oh,
you introduce the topic. What did you want to talk about this week?
oh, let's just say why is important. Well, that's something that can relate to us as ordinary citizens. Let's
How to make the world a better
anything
place.
that's on economic policies. We need help from the government under socialism. So I think let's say one specific thing. Why do we need a universal basic income? Let's say that.
Byron, you picked the topic and you
Yeah,
picked how to make the world a better place. We just
yeah,
gotta tell the audience our topic today is how to make the world a better place. I think that's a fantastic topic.
yeah,
And I think there's a range of genuine possibilities and pie in the sky. Okay, well, no billionaires makes the world a better place, but that's not realistic. So, what are the actionable steps to make the world a better place? And is it even possible to make the world a better place, or are we just putting humanity on palliative care because the collapse is already written, and now we just want to make people as comfortable as possible? There's opportunities in both those scenarios, but our umbrella topic for the day is how to make the world a better place.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that right, gentlemen?
yeah. Well, I just brought one specific thing. It's universal basic income. Why is it important? Why do we need it? Yeah.
Okay, so to start the discussion, I want to talk about global challenges. So if you want to put universal basic income in there as a solution, I agree. I don't know what the actionable steps are, but if you guys want to help me tee up some global challenges and how to make the world a better place, we've got war, certainly income inequality, like you mentioned, climate change, billion-dollar companies, oligarchs. Guys, what are some of the global challenges that we have to overcome to make the world a better place?
Well, let's just say, let's just what I gotta think. We had to get, we had to, United States need to ban dark money, to ban it. Yes, we're good. We have to ban this already. That's one of the things we'd say. Yeah, what I would say. Yeah, we need.
Ban dark money. Yeah. Arlen, thinking globally, and then we'll stem down to national and local. But thinking globally, what are some of the challenges and some of your proposed ideas to make the world a better place?
Well, globally, there's a lot of wars happening every single freaking day.
Yeah. I mean, globally.
Endless wars, endless wars, and if that's not solved, how will we have funds to go anywhere else to
Oh,
social programs that help people?
oh,
And one of the biggest challenges is that right now in the UN, um, the biggest countries and the wealthiest countries have all the voice. So basically, the United States and China dictates the UN, and a lot of the smaller countries don't have a lot of voice. So I think to solve that, we need to include smaller countries and their opinions more, and also we need to include the poorer countries as well because they're part of the global issue.
So it's almost like the UN needs more of an electoral college.
I would go against an electoral college situation. I think it should be direct vote.
But because see, I'm not a fan of electoral college, obviously. I mean, we've
Yeah.
had Al Gore and Hillary win the popular vote and not take the presidency. But when I hear you say, okay, the smaller nation states, the poor nation
Oh, I
states,
see what you're saying.
they need more rights and influence. So that sounds
Yeah.
like electoral college. And then uh, looking ahead, are we going to have the same problems where one smaller nation has taken the attention to their needs? I guess we kind of have with with Israel, but of course, nuclear power is a lot of their leverage. But
Well, I don't think it needs to be exactly like electoral college, but there needs to be safeguards so that not a single country can just like take over the conversation and leave everyone else out because that's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
yeah, I was kind of in my wake up routine. I was scrolling through Reddit, and a lot of the discussion where, people talk about, what's going on right now with the war in Iran, and people from Europe say, yeah, I hate to say it, it sounds mean, but if the U.S. would just collapse already, it'd be easier for the rest of the world to get shit done. And
No,
somebody
I
from
don't
Can
want the US to collapse, though. I don't want them to collapse.
Yeah, neither do I live here. Neither do I. My son and nephew live here too.
If
well,
you
I know
guys
sometimes,
neither.
collapse, then what are we supposed to do? Then
But
China and Russia will gang up on us.
yeah, the UN can be sometimes a joke, the UN. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, the memes with the diplomatic immunity and the parking tickets, and I think that's where make the world a better place globally. Competition ruins so much.
Oh yeah.
I would like to supplant competition with cooperation, but when everybody at every level stands to benefit individually, I'm an ambassador. I have diplomatic immunity. I eat all the best restaurants. That's my other goal. Not to say a lot from watching our first video, but replacing competition with cooperation, and everybody shows up to their job with with a common goal of making the world a better place, you could be more successful without people in those seats eyeing their own bank accounts. But when money is everybody's lifeline, I don't how many public servants, right? Everybody's representing their individual countries, and they come to the UN. Like, how many people are more concerned with the greater good than their own pocketbook? And I think that's a lot of what ails us globally. How do we get to Arlen's vision where the global body is like, okay, we need to include the smaller states, nation states, not exploit them. Like, how do we get there? What are the actionable steps?
Um, well, since no, not well, since just like I believe it's 195 countries in the world, two they were not part of UN's, Palestine and Vatican City, which I guess is obvious reasons why they're not part of the UN. I mean, Palestine, it's just not, I don't know, it's barely a country. I mean, it's not real, it's not owned, governed by itself for nearly 6 decades. Yeah. Uh, oh yeah, and you say wars is going on the Iran war, the Pakistan-Afghanistan war, the Russo-Ukrainian war, then when Israel invaded southern Lebanon. Yeah, it's a lot of what happens in the Eastern Hemisphere there, especially. Yeah.
Right, wars raging all over the globe, taking money away from social programs. I mean, here's the bottom line: if the other 2/3 of the planet lived like the richest 1/3, we would go extinct a lot faster. Right, the American dream of a family with a couple cars and a two-story house and a modest yard that can't spread over the globe. That's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So whether you're convincing a person or a country to be happy with less, that's what it would take to make the whole world a better place. But how do we get there, right? Because that's what I
Yeah.
wanted this episode to be. What are the actionable steps to make the world a better place? Because otherwise, it's just Jay-Z and Mark Cuban saying, manifest your dreams.
Well,
Well, in terms of global issues, I think you just have to have the UN like reformed. You perhaps we can have some sort of like a judge panel that also oversees the UN, so that's not like this where certain countries have all the say and then the rest of them are just sitting there agreeing or disagreeing.
I think I like that idea. I mean, when power's consolidated in the hands of a few, they bringing in more arbitrators.
Yeah, and same thing with income inequality and climate change. I mean, these are separate issues, but globally, yeah, you need to have the UN do more. Like in terms of war, I'll go back to war a little bit. In terms of war, it seems like if the UN disagrees with some country starting a war, well, apparently the US can just bypass the UN and start a war anyways. It seems through historical recent historical records. And but yeah, in terms of income inequality, I think the worst offenders will have to be forced to work harder to fix that issue. That's my personal opinion. And then the funds the UN has gathered can go and help the poorer countries reach their own goals. Because I know like the rich countries, if they really wanted to, they can solve income inequality in a day if they truly wanted to.
That's what keeps me up at night. And you
yeah.
mentioned the cultural differences, Arlen, and I think that's so important to remember because we look at like France or somewhere where culturally they want to do more to help the environment or at least be mindful of it, um, they're at odds with other countries that don't. Um,
Yeah.
the U.S. The dominant global superpower wants to drill its own California coast. So those are cultural differences. I mean, you'll get groups of people, and certainly there's a let's say a third of the country's progressive and liberal, like pro environment, but are we? If we're still consuming all day long, consuming, we'll talk about what I saw at the local level with the protests yesterday. But culturally, other countries are more their citizenry has a different mindset, and it's a mindset of do more good for everybody, and other countries are do more good for the individual. And we're at the red line where we have to start thinking globally. We all share the same planet. Climate
Yeah.
change doesn't stop at borders.
And if the big countries don't do anything or do too little, the rest of the smaller countries, whatever they do is not enough.
We almost don't know that picture, like the little fish turning into a big fish to scare off the big fish. We almost don't have enough little fish because the big one's so big and dangerous right now. When my son was little, we made a fish tank, and I had to pour a lot of work into it behind the scenes just so he could drop the flakes in and feel like he did something. But yeah, I introduced the wrong type of fish, and it ate everybody. So Byron, uh, cultural differences between these countries. How do we build towards a mindset where whether it's us in the U.S., Ireland in Taiwan, somebody else in France, where the mindset is more, be a better steward of the planet, be a better steward of the future, because nothing's going to get done until we all kind of share that goal.
Well, look, in we us in the developed nations. Well, look, in the United States, we don't have free and affordable universities, and we need to have a better infrastructure of public services. Yeah, and we need to have better economic policies. I mean, I was thinking we'll make the world a better place. Like, well, I mean, we in a developed nation, I mean, I think that we could stop the world famine because we have to feed the individuals in the poor nations. Yes, yeah, to end world hunger. Yeah,
That's true. So
yeah.
what I took for that is feed the hungry and educate them will go a long way in influencing the mindset. I couldn't agree more. You can't make rational decisions when you're hungry. And then once you're fed, you need some facts. You might go outside and say, yeah, it's fucking hot, but you don't understand climate change and fossil fuel dependency if it's not in front of your face. Yeah. Feed the hungry and educate them. Yeah, and that's a lot of the soft power we've lost when the Trump administration starts, Doge cutting programs that assist other countries.
Yeah, cutting USA AID. Yeah, yeah, it was not. It's a terrible decision there. I mean, like, the UN, USID is founded by, well, previous US presidents, the United Nations founded by FDR, and USAID is founded by JFK. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
we're
we
all
had a
good
lot of a
presidents.
lot of good ideas that get implemented and then slashed later. Arlen, wrap up the global challenges for us. And then we'll
Global, well, another issue that's globally challenging is definitely climate change because if we don't get serious about that, we all burn.
yeah, yeah. I kind of feel like
So,
the who's going to rule over the rubble. That's not.
yeah,
So what do we do about it, Arlen?
I think the biggest problem right now is that the Paris Accord is very, very weak because it's voluntary. So that means if any country decides not to join it or like leave it, they can, just like Trump did in the past. He just left the Paris Accord. So that would mean the US doesn't need to contribute to global warming anymore. And that's a huge loss for the world because it's a big country with 340 million people.
Yeah.
Um, so I think what we need is to strengthen the Paris Accord. Kind of like if we look in the past, there used to be a Kyoto Protocol. That one was dismantled now, though. But in the past, way earlier, it actually binded 17 industrialized countries and made them reduce their like contribute to reduce their emissions. They actually promised to do it. Well, back then it's of course different from today. Global warming is a lot more serious now than it was back then. And but the good news is there's a lot more industrialized nations today versus back then. Um, and I think part of it is we also have to force China to admit they are a developed country because I'm sorry, they're still pretending they're a developing country, and that's not true.
Well, China, well, I know it's not a developed nation, but it's still, I mean, you could be a powerful nation not being a developed nation, you know? Well, like
Yeah, true, but it
militarily.
is wealthy enough to um, do certain things but it's still pretending it's like Africa.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what it would be like if China's still a developed nation. I mean, you still have Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau. I mean, it would be
Yeah,
powerful. Yeah.
No, I agree. It's I mean, the U.S. is kind of backsliding too, where we're developed, yeah, but so many of our people are in poverty and there's just this veneer over it. Where, oh yeah, everybody in the U.S. has a fantastic life. Well, no.
Well, look, the wealth inequality in United it happens because the wealth inequality kept increasing in the United States since the 1970s. That's like over 50, that's about like 55 years ago. That's why. Still a developed
yeah,
nation.
none of us were born.
Yeah, that's like way before I was born. Well, that's before my mother was born when dad was still alive at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, the problems happening here are happening all over the world. Just here, they're happening on steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
annoying about the U.S. happening in the U.S. is that it's done on purpose.
Yeah, it's by design.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't seem to care about they impoverish the ordinary citizens, including rural impoverish. Yeah. I mean, like in the
yeah,
southern states or the more rural states, like in the Midwest states, like the Great Plains. I mean, they seem to be less informed and less informed and seem to be highlight broken in public ser broken public services and all those things there. Oh yeah, and higher rates of poverty, all those things. Yeah.
It sounds like without saying it, we've kind of moved into the next section. The We're going to go from the global challenges to our U.S. challenges. And you're right, just to reiterate, poor education, manufactured crises. That's where we get a lot of, oh, it's the illegal immigrants causing your problems. Oh, it's the transgendered athletes causing your problems. All this distraction to keep us angry and suspicious of each other. While
Well,
the Go ahead.
well, fuck culture wars. Don't get distracted by that. This is a trap. All these culture wars.
yeah.
Try not to get distracted by it, but I sure deal with it. I One of the things I like about working at my bank post, it's 12-hour shifts, pretty rough, but when it starts to get shady by the end of the day, the edge of the property is the entrance of a 55 and over apartment complex, and a couple of dog walkers that I've gotten to know come out, and I go and chat with them and I pet their dogs, and they're good dudes. They're older gentlemen, um, but this guy I've chatted with multiple times, but usually just about family and dogs. But he was a little flustered because his adult daughter was planning to come see him, I don't know if it was his birthday or her birthday, but obviously she's encountering airport trouble. And of course, I was like, yeah, I heard about that. I don't try to start political conversations. He's like, yeah, I'm just so fed up with Chuck Schumer and Madami. And he starts going off on random disconnected points, but they're all like, why would the Democrats do this to us? So, the three of us might be above falling for culture wars, but I see it play out every day. I
Well,
like
look, culture
poor
wars
guy
is
with his dog, just Democrats are ruining everything top to bottom.
I do want to add, Montagny is great. Chuck Schumer, no.
Yeah, I agreed with him on the Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer's bad too, but his perspective was off. His perspective was that Mr. Trump is trying to make America great again, and he's being stymied by the efforts of the Democrats and the libs.
Mm.
well, this one's more unpopular than Chuck Schumer. Drops 108 points. It's John Fetterman. Yeah, way more unpopular. Yeah,
John Fetterman might as well join the Republicans at this point.
I don't think he can win a primary. I don't think so for
Yeah.
2028. I
But I
don't think.
think that's one of our national challenges. And I know when I first met you guys, we kind of argued, and then I actually did acquiesce to your point of view. But Arlen, you in particular, run progressive candidates, run progressive candidates. If they're not for universal basic income, universal health care, don't run them. And I kept saying they won't win, they won't win, they won't win.
Mm.
And at this point, I think you're right. Yeah, put them up, see what happens, because meet in the middle, and then the other side takes a big step back and says meet in the middle again isn't working. But it's almost like we elect a Democrat. Uh, that's why Mandami is so refreshing. But typically we elect a Democrat, and then where did they go? Where did all their ideas go? Now they're just doing the whole WWE performance where they kind of fight with the Republicans, but then go along with them at the end of the day.
Look, it's
You're
just
just so weak. That's the problem. You can't be in opposition if you're weak like that.
But we take it. Like, we took it in Christian cinema.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they do an about face and they start lining their own pockets. And I like
And yeah, I think the part where people say the progressives can't win is by design as well, by the establishment. They want to drill that down into people's minds so that they don't vote for the progressive. Because why would you vote for the progressive if you think they'll lose? But voting doesn't work that way. Voting works by whoever you want to vote for. So if more people want to vote for the progressive, they'll win.
well, look, I mean, at least one in Maine looks like Graham Platter looks like most likely to win, you know? Yeah.
Mm.
Like way ahead than Janet Mills there. Looks like he has more likely chance to win there. Looks like he might beat Susan Collins. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, I was
yeah.
previously in Michigan. We're in 2026. Didn't start until November, so we still have like over several months away then. Look, one of the candidate, Abdul El Sayed's like 2 points ahead from one of the polls. Well, I see the next several months there if he succeed well, campaign well, you know? Yeah.
But how to make the world a better place?
Yeah.
Action starts at home. We want to put up progressive candidates. So let me just preview a very likely scenario. Trump steals the midterms, right? The writing's on the wall as far as war powers, voter ID, putting ICE at polling stations. Okay, so Trump steals the midterms, and then everybody goes back to work on Monday. Oh
Look,
wow, the bummer. That outcome wasn't what I wanted. Okay, time to clock in, do my little work,
look,
because
Trump is
everybody's so individually focused on their bottom line, but how to make the world a better place, democracy is more than voting. At some point, we do need to flex our power. We do need to be the little fish that become the big fish. But you're asking in any political revolution, the poorest group of people haven't been successful without the middle class people joining them. So my son and nephew are going to be safe. They have resources independent of me. So it's easy for me to say, okay, yeah, I'll quit my job at a national protest. But somebody who's been working very hard on a career and a 401k, how do we get them to put their life on pause? And look, we can't just ignore what's happening. There's a fascist government in power in the United States, and fascism has never just gotten better on its own. We're going to have to do something, be it a general strike or whatever. But we need to convince the people who might look at the gas prices and but it's not going to affect them as much. They again replace competition with cooperation. We're still competing. I just got a new job I'm excited about, but for me to be like, oh, I really hope I get that job, it would mean a lot for me and my son as far as increased income and better benefits. I'm actually hoping that the other people who wanted it didn't get it. It's not where it should be, where everybody's needs are met at an agreed upon bare minimum, and then we go out and we try to do more, help more based on our interests. It's survival. So people who are surviving need the help of people who are thriving to enact institutional change. So you get back Arlen with we got to talk about culture and mindset. How do we convince the people who know shit's bad right now? Everybody's swirling the drain, but some of us are closer to the drop than others. And we need to be like, hey, pay attention and get them on board. Does that make sense? Do you guys see the challenge here?
Yeah, I see it to understand there. But look, Trump just spends time for a second or two enriches himself. He doesn't care about his own base, you know. Yeah, that's what he's been doing there. It's been the entire time. Well, I mean about voting, why is important right there? Like when Hungary for next month, we're nearly in April that Viktor Orban might lose. He's like below 20 points ahead, 20 points below, one of the polls there. That the opposition political party might win, going most likely to win, since Viktor Orban has been prime minister of Hungary for over 2 decades. He was backed by Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump, and Benjamin Netanyahu. It was yes. I want to see that happen if he loses. Viktor Orban, Hungary. Yeah, I mean, see, yeah. Well, he's like increasingly autocratic, but like in the same level of Turkey there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great points. So Arlen, beyond voting, we've got these challenges in the United States. What are the actionable steps?
Well, I
You
think if people see good things happen by example, and then they're thinking like the middle class will actually side with the working class and the poor. For example, like let's say in Minnesota, they actually elected a good governor, Tim Watts, who actually passed a bunch of good policies that benefit the people. And in that kind of situation, you see him protecting the people of his state when fascists come over with ICE and trying to hit on immigrants and actually hurt them and jail them or just throw them out of the country. And so, yeah, certain states are actually doing their job because the people vote those in those states actually vote correctly, I would say, because they have actually experienced what good policies can do for their own lives. So in terms of the U.S., I think if people don't, because the U.S. is like an individualistic kind of culture, more so than collectivist. If they don't feel it, then they might think about themselves instead of others. But if they actually feel the difference or feel some sort of change, they'll side with those less fortunate than them.
Yeah, that's you made a great point. What happened in uh, Minnesota was heartbreaking, but then inspiring to see the community rally around its weakest members, and that's the true judge a successful population by how it treats its lowest class, not how it treats its highest class. Um, but I to see that play out in Arizona, I don't know the
To see it
the
play out everywhere, we need to have a, in terms of the U.S., we need a cultural shift. Otherwise,
yeah.
it's not going to happen in all the states.
So let's not be Jay-Z and Mark Cuban for a second. Manifest cultural shift. What can I do to start shifting the culture from competition to cooperation?
And on an individual level,
Well, we're still, I mean, yeah, because a country is made up of individuals, but I mean, we're still talking nationally. I think Mark Kelly, my senator, is a unique figure because he has a military background. People think the astronaut thing is cool. His wife was she's a powerful politician in her own right, but the victim of gun violence. And he doesn't put up with shit from Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. He stands up to them, and then we feel empowered, but then we show support, and it's reciprocal. You know, he knows Arizona's behind him, so hopefully that propels his opposition. I think that's a lot of why the Democrats chicken out. I mean, people love to say Trump always chickens out to taco meme, but from the big beautiful bill to funding ICE, Democrats chicken out too. It's just not as catchy. Nobody's figured out the how to memify that. But I think it's because they know people are still going to go to work. As long as the streaming's hot and the beer is cold, people aren't going to be in the streets except for the weekend. Our friend K.L. Anderson, author of But First You Need a Plan, she points out it still has merit. Don't knock it that the nationwide protest happened on the weekend because that's where communities are built. Because I love to, you do too, love to call it a barbecue. Oh, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, we went to a barbecue.
didn't Bernie Sanders just spoke in Minnesota in front of 100, like, yeah, 100,000 protesters? That number is a lot more impressive than it used to be.
It is.
Yeah. So I mean, people protested yesterday. Is it 8 million? It's 1 million more, right?
Yeah, it's a lot more than it used to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So and the post protest analysis I've been reading, people are saying, okay, we've got the numbers, we're building the community. Now it needs to spill over to the rest of the week or times where it'll hurt the Epstein class.
So
I don't like calling the elites, but the Epstein class, they don't care. Oh, that's cute. Look what the peasants are
just call
doing.
them rapists because we all know they're just rapists.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, about Trump chickens out. There's two things that are necessary. You should chicken out. You know, you should not do more to this aggressive tariffs, which is recklessly way to use tariffs, and to get out and just get out the Iran war. You know, I thought those two you should chicken out. You should get, you know, you should not. continue to do that, you know? Yeah. Any sane person will have to not will not no longer should do those things. Yeah.
How do we? Let's wrap up how we come together as a country to make the world a better place, and then move on to our last section, which is our individual communities. But to bring the country together, to shift the mindset to climate change, income inequality, the things we identified as hurting the whole world. What's the last thing we can do together as a country, Byron, make the world a better place?
Well, in the United States, right? Well, like talk about unity and stability, right? Yeah. Well, unity and stability. I mean, to this day, we seem to be politically divided, you know? Well, you know, in the right wing, the conservatives are more politically divided. It doesn't look like the left were. Talk about the citizens, the voters, you know, not the politicians. Well, you know, citizens on the left, well, in the United States, the voters, they seem to, well, looks like a majority, they seem to agree with progressivism. And the right, well, looks like they agree with populism, right-wing populism. And others are just, well, just fall whatever, you know, from right-wing populists and neoconservatism. It seems, yeah, on the right, it seems to be more politically divided on the voters. Yeah. We're very politically
I
divided.
heard you say so. Bill, did you say Bill of Rights in there? Because I mean,
I'd say we're very politically divided in the United States. So
oh,
yeah, yeah,
so I think countrywide, yeah, amend the Constitution. We look. Thomas Jefferson, the age of majority was 21 in his time, and you were considered an old man at 40. So he considered, in his letters to Adams, we know he considered 19 years a political cycle. He wanted every generation to amend the Constitution to suit its needs. We were never supposed to jerk off to it for 250 years. But I think we need to, with AI doing everybody's jobs, we need to codify new rights. If you're born in this country, guaranteed income, guaranteed health care,
well,
guaranteed climate awareness.
I mean, look, you could add or change policy in the Constitution, but you need like two-thirds of the U.S. Congress, in both U.S. House and U.S. Senate. Also, you need four-fifths of the U.S. governors if they agree. You know, it will be hard to do those things. You need two-thirds.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It would be extremely difficult. But when you talk about the divide between right and left,
Yeah,
if we could agree on the core values,
yeah.
then we're back to arguing about details. But right
Well.
now, we're fighting over the core values.
Look, and what's considered to be least to most important about politics? The least would be political leadership. Then third, it would be political affiliation. Second, would be political ideology. And one is political positions. You have to find common ground, which political positions they do agree on, you know? On, you know, war or a foreign policy or economic, you know, something like that. Yeah, yeah. Political ideology is important or political. Well, yeah, you need to get, well, to have more seats in whatever U.S. or Congress or Parliament, whatever, you know. Yeah, yes, to pass policies as we progressive we agree on, you know, one of the past, you know. Yeah.
I'm with you, Byron. Arlen, any final thought on coming together as a country to shift the mindset?
I think coming together as a country in the US is right now very, very difficult. So I think what will actually help it come together is actually on a lower level, like let's say the state level or like city level.
Okay,
Um,
good. Let's just call it right now. We're talking about the local challenges now. You
yeah.
tipped us off perfectly. So continue. This is our last section. We're talking about the local challenges and solutions.
Well, for example, as I've said, people in the US are the culture is individualistic. So they need to feel something beneficial to them to want to side over with those less fortunate than them. So by doing that, for that to happen, it has to happen on the state level and local level. For example, let's say way back in before I was born and before you were even born, um, the state of Vermont was a red state, and when somehow Bernie won that state by a few votes, just somehow, he actually was serious and he fixed their roads and shoveled their snows. Those are very basic, very, very basic things. They don't change the country or change the world. They just change the livelihood of his own city. Um, but the people feel it. So that's how that city eventually became very, very blue. And now the whole state is very blue. And it seems like he can't even lose an election. He might as well not even vote anymore because he feels it. So very basic things on the very local levels. People feel it, and when they feel it, they know what's good for them. And if they know when they know what's good for them, they actually start thinking about those less fortunate than them, and not only about themselves.
Thank you for mentioning my home state of Vermont.
Oh,
And,
you were
and
born there.
the timeline, I don't know exactly how it lined up, but my parents do remember Bernie Sanders waving at cars on the freeway and all those little things he did. Um, yeah, it matters. Kindness is infectious. It's kind of what we would talk about in group therapy. Me as the facilitator to my clients. Well, yeah, Arlen, that was fantastically put.
But
The
that's
act,
city level and state level. That's still government. That's not individuals. So individuals matter too, and we can touch on that a little bit later.
but when, yeah, and then when Vermont emerges as that kind of progressive utopia, man, the propaganda machine on the other side finds a way to try to poison that, make it look bad because it's threatening their bottom line. Bernie's out there showing you that a rising tide lifts all ships, and the other side, well, crazy Bernie making it harder to get ahead and be individually successful. But you're right, he does kind of have plot armor now, because he has been successful, and he gets criticized too, right? Well, Bernie is also a millionaire. Well, being a millionaire is not bad. Being a
Is
billionaire
he a
is
millionaire
horrific.
though? When you look at like how do you define a millionaire? He only made like 2 million from book sales. Like come on.
Yeah, but we don't need to glaze Bernie Sanders too much. But I, when I was thinking about, okay, individually, here's where I'm at, and I wanted to always be positive, but what we have to do individually comes down to sacrifice and shame. I'm like, no, that's negative. The alliteration is nice, so I'm going to change the shame to inform. And that means sacrifice and inform. And let me explain. Sacrifice does not mean, okay, I got to buy this product because it's more environmentally conscious over this product. We've all been kind of propagandized into, most an individual can do is recycle. But then Elon Musk and Taylor Swift jet across the country and they just undid whatever benefits were felt from that individually recycling. So the sacrifice an individual needs to make is to consciously get out of the billionaire revenue streams. And it does matter. I come home and half my neighbors have a goddamn Amazon Prime box on their porch. I haven't been an Amazon Prime subscriber in 2 years. And I do feel good about that. Uh, I don't feel superior about that, but I feel good about that. I haven't had Facebook since Farmville sold their virtual currency at grocery store check stands. But we know that the AI data centers are bad. We know that billionaires' solution to climate change is that most of us poor just die off and then they don't have to worry about it. Like, you cannot support billionaires and then go to bed. I'm a progressive. I did everything I can. I care about. No, that's where the sacrifice comes. You have to not be adding to the billionaire revenue streams. You have to be subtracting from it. Phone,
Yeah.
internet, some of these things are hard. I had an ex-girlfriend who drove herself crazy trying to research how she can uncouple her finances from all the billionaires, and you can't. But Amazon Prime and Facebook X, they're fucking easy ones. So so now the sacrifice kind of leads to shame, but I'm changing it to inform because let me give you another example. I got some really nice friends, progressive voters, good people, and they're very supportive. They'll watch this because I send it to them. Probably skip around, tell me they watch the whole thing. But at the end of the day, still posting on Facebook, still ordering from Amazon. And because I don't want to hurt that relationship, I'm be like, I didn't just make that video to force people to look at my beautiful face. I was serious when I said, if you want to reduce climate change and take an actionable step as an individual, you fucking delete Facebook and fucking cancel Amazon Prime. Like I need to approach that difficult conversation with my local group because it's easy to hop on Bluesky where 99% of my friends agree with me and say that shit, but I need to say it to my parents who use Amazon Prime. I need to say it to my friends who are posting on Facebook. And that's how I think an individual can make the world a better place. Sacrifice, lead by example, and inform. Hey, this is why I'm doing this. Uh, if you still have a Twitter or an X account, you're keeping Elon Musk relevant. Well, I'm just one person. He doesn't care. Well, he does.
Don't worry, I
Cancel.
deleted mine a long time ago.
Delete, cancel, unsubscribe. Let me kick it back to you guys. What
Well,
can
look,
the
there's some great
individual
shows in
do
Amazon
to
Prime.
make the world a better place?
Well, I just said there's some great TV shows in Amazon Prime there. Yeah,
There are.
yeah.
Dude, what am I like? I don't have. I want to watch Daredevil season 2. But I don't have Disney Plus, and I refuse to subscribe. So
Really?
I'll either download it illegally. The actors, cast, and crew, everybody's been paid already. That's important. So I'm not stealing from them. But I'll either download it illegally or I'll wait till it hits the library shelves. I'll have
All you
in
need,
15 years. I'll have cool shit to watch.
So you want those
really,
Amazon?
all we need is a VPN.
So you want those
Yeah,
Amazon Prime originals? Go to different streaming services, right? All these originals, Amazon Prime there. Good,
yeah.
good.
So Byron, you raise a good point. Some people, well, I'm not going to order a toothbrush and have it shipped to my house, but I want to watch the final season of The Boys, and I like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. How do you tell that person? Well, Jeff Bezos is bad for the planet, and he has AI software abusing his drivers. They're not allowed to sing along to songs, and they're peeing in bottles,
Yeah, even
and people are
self-representation.
working. So yeah, like, I like those movies and shows too. But how do you have a difficult conversation with your friends and not shame, but inform them? You can't support that. You
Like,
cannot
like what?
support that. Like
Like
it's a free
what?
country, you can do what you want, but if you want to claim to be on the side of making the world a better place, you can't support that.
So there's gonna be a massive strike on the creators of the Amazon Prime originals, wherever, and go and demand them to go to a different streaming platform.
That's for the creative people to figure out. Creative people will always be creative. Yeah, if Amazon Prime knocked on my door, be like, "Hey, we want to develop a movie about your book." Yeah, that sounds awesome. We'll pay you $1 million to do. Oh shit, okay. That'll never happen, but the point remains, you have to get out of the billionaire revenue streams. I had capitalism dreams of my own at one point, but now I just want to be in a position where I've contributed to the planet healing because my son and nephew live here.
Well, what about let's say separate the acquisition, like 26th Century Fox been owned by Walt Disney Company. I think it should. I mean, I don't mind. Well, I think they should be separated right away. And what Netflix is will be co-owned along with Warner Bros. By CNN. Yeah, I mean,
And you're talking about breaking up monopolies, which will
yes.
come, which would come from our collective action against the monopolies. But Byron, we're talking about on the local level.
Oh,
We go out, we take all of our good ideas out into the community, and we're just chatting with people and existing and going about our lives. And what can you do to make the world a better place and convince somebody else or inform them? You're right. Until, as Arlen said, it's really helpful when somebody sees and feels the benefit. Then they'll go ahead and do something. But yeah, I got friends who just they work hard and they take care of their kids, and it's super convenient to order some shit and it gets dropped off on the porch the next day. But I need to say, that's not that's 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 contributing to climate change more than you realize. That's where the AI data centers are drinking up all the water. Look, some of my websites have AI shit on them. The chat GPT summaries of some work I did, and all my teacher newsletters had AI artwork. I had to learn that that's bad and come around to the people who figured out ahead of me. Jason, you're hurting the planet, and you're playing into the billionaire's hand by using their social services. And it does feel like a sacrifice at first to stop, but people need to stop, and they need to stop fucking fast. I don't know, am I wrong, Byron? What do you think?
no, you're not wrong on that, Jason. I would say, yeah.
So we're about out of time. Byron, when you go out this week, how are you going to make the world a better place?
If I went out this week, how would make the world a better place?
Not the week behind, the week ahead.
Yeah, I know,
how
I
you gonna
know.
make the I have a lot of faith in you. I feel there's something special about you. I've always felt it. I want to be more like you. Your optimism is infectious. Your kindness is palpable. So you're going to go out there into the world this week. How are you making the world a better place?
Well, I don't know about that, but look, I'm still a university student, still, yeah. Look, I'm still, look, for me, just still trying to get good grades as possible for me on that. Yeah. And I mean, next year I'll be in fourth year. Look, I leave school in May. I'm nearly done. I gotta go to fourth year next year. Yeah, yeah, all that. Look, maybe I'll do some actions if, well, whenever I have time, whatever. Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess post-university years, I guess, if I have more time to do this. Well, it could depends, because, well, it's still gonna be Trump's second term, and it's gonna be economic struggles there still. Yeah,
All right. Well, I know you're going to make awesome grades
yeah,
because you're super smart. Thank you for sharing your intelligence and your gifts with us.
yeah.
Arlen, Well, they say the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The next best time is now. How are you going to make the world a better place this week?
Well, I'm gonna continue recycling. I know what that sounds like, but here's the truth. Recycling is it helps on a local level, but it's also like a world scam in a sense because only 10% of the world's plastic is recycled.
Well, I do recycle appropriately, wherever it goes belongs.
Yeah,
Plastic to paper, I did appropriately. Yeah.
right,
Yeah, I wasn't saying don't recycle, of course.
right. But
Yeah,
the problem is
absolutely.
only 10% of the world's plastic is recycled. And I still think a lot of the bigger countries are doing a poor-ass job on that. Um, for example, like here in Taiwan, back in the 1990s, when we pretty much just started like getting, well, I wouldn't say started, but like have gotten modern. The recycling rate was like 15%. Today it's more like 60%. So I feel like I mean, if I as an individual continue doing that, we could raise the level from 60% maybe one day to 90%. I think it's possible. And because it's a collective culture here already, it's in that aspect it's a little bit easier because if we see people throw trash anywhere, they'll know themselves and they'll feel shame.
So it's for don't shame, inform. That's hard for me because as a mall cop, that new Shake Shack opened, massive lines. Anything new attracts people, but because there's so many people that wanted to try Arizona's first Shake Shack, people were getting the food and eating it in their cars. And that's fine, but they blast their air conditioning for the 30 minutes they're sitting in their car eating. And then these motherfuckers, and it's enough people to mention when they're done eating, what do you think happens to the trash? Do they take it home? A, do they take it home and throw it away? B, do they get out of their car and walk to any of the 50 mall trash cans? Or C, do they just drop it right there in the parking lot and drive away? What do you think happens enough that it's affected my shifts?
They just drop it.
Throw it and drive away. And that's where, if I can kind of see it happen, I kind of put myself in the path of their car and pick it. I'm like, oh, can I get that for you? And they pick it up and kind of get them to think about what they did. But it's the whole competition versus cooperation. The media, the outside influences, it all builds a person's cultural mindset. And as you put it, they need to see how they benefit from positive change. So I pick up trash. Honestly, it's not even in my. Nobody would get mad at me for not picking up trash, other than I'd get mad at myself. Um, so the way I'll make
And
a world a better place this week is I'll just keep trying to lead by example as far as the maxim. Hey, if you go somewhere, try to leave it better than you found it, whether it's your classroom, your neighborhood, or the planet. I really enjoyed spending my morning with you guys.
same here.
Yeah, same too.
An hour's already flown by, so I'm going to end it unless anybody's got something else.
Well, I have one more thing to add to what you said. You said lead by example, and I think that's very good because then if you can lead by example and do be responsible, then you're setting an example for your son to learn to be responsible. And that's the way to pass down a more collective culture.
I agree. I agree. And there's so much competition for our children, our students, their attention span. So it's important to be consistent.
And no one in the US should ever feel shame if they're 25 or something and living with their parents, because honestly, um, in growing up in like a more collective culture, that's very normal.
Hey, if my parents would invite me back home at 43, I would be there in a nanosecond. But it's, it's not gonna happen. A better chance one of you guys will take me. All right, gentlemen. I look forward to seeing you next week. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.